what does self-made mean to you, Gary?
Um, Man, that's a deep question to start off with.
It's
Uh,
a good. It's to the core. Like what it. You got there. You're there. What did it? What is it? Like what did you do?
here's my thing. Self-made, and it sounds so cliche, but I never doubted myself. Like, even I knew I wanted to be a comedian at an early age, like elementary school, and
Wow.
that was the only goal, was to make people laugh. I didn't know if it'd be like stand up, but I was like, whatever field I go into, I'll probably be the funny guy, whether it was a gym teacher or a football coach. But in the back of my mind is always like, I want to be a comedian. But you grow up in a small town in Ohio. How do you do that? I don't know. I thought you had to start in L.A.
So when did it click in for you that comedy was a thing? Like you could do that. You didn't have to be the gym teacher to do that. Comedy is its own gym teacher. You know what I mean?
I ran away from home when I was in 11th grade, and then me and my buddy Derek Callahan, he was driving me down to the bus station, the Greyhound station, and we stopped at a grocery store, and I got Goober Great. Remember Goober Great?
Yeah.
It's the peanut butter and jelly in one jar, and
Yep.
a loaf of bread, and I had a thermos. And I said, I'll just catch a bus to LA, man. I said, I don't want to go home. I'll just eat the peanut butter and jelly till I get there. I said, and I'll just be a stand-up, man. I'll make it. I'll make them funny. And he's hyped me up on the way down the bus station. Yeah, you'll make it, man. You funny. I said, no. Then we got down there and we had like $13 between us. They was like, you can get to Louisville. I go, shit.
And that was
We
the
got
end
to
of
go
it.
back to the trailer park. I got to save up.
Um,
So that was the day. That was the day I decided I'm going to be a stand-up. It was that day I ran away. I was like,
why did you?
because like,
So I have that. Why did you run away?
just it was a bad environment. Living in a trailer park, abusive stepdad. It was bad. It was just bad.
At that, and I'm curious because you don't. Normal people, I think, don't realize what bad is until late in life. You're in 11th grade. How did you real? When did you realize it's bad? You know what I mean?
You just get it's just you get sick of it. You're like, I can't take this being put down every day. It was physical. It's more mental abuse because you get hit a couple times. I was able to like figure out how to not get hit anymore. I was able to like maneuver my way around the trailer. Not I knew how not to trigger my stepdad basically, and but the mental abuse was killing me. I go anything. We had a boys' home at my high school, and I was jealous of the boys' home. It was called Bunker Hill, and I was so jealous of those kids because I was like, man, I bet they got it good at Bunker Hill. And those were kids that committed crimes that was now at a boys' home going to our school. They lived all in like bunk beds, and there's like 8 in a room, and they have a grown man sleeping in the room with them. Make sure they don't try to run away.
That was,
And I was
and
jealous.
you saw that was better.
I thought that was better. I was like, man, Bunker Hill's where it's at.
So what do you think when you look back? What do you think clicked with you in comedy? Like, was it your way out in the sense of making light of the situation you were in?
Well, I used to tell kids at my school stories about my stepdad, like his irrational behavior, and they didn't believe me, but they'd be laughing. And I'm sitting there like kind of trying to open up, but then I started making it funny. And I was like, wait a minute, they're laughing at all this shit going on. And I was just like, okay, at home in the trailer, I was kind of stifled. I couldn't be me. But once I was able to get out and get to school, that's when I could make people laugh. And that's when it hit me. I go, oh my gosh, I got a gift here. And I like making people laugh. And it's kind of like, it just kind of clicked. Like, that's what I want to do.
Do you appreciate the fact, and I mean this sincerely, I wasn't until in my 30s that my biggest issue was not knowing what I wanted to do. And that's a scary thing when you're in your mid 30s and not
Yeah.
knowing and always thinking, Jesus, what do I fucking do? What do I want to do? You knew what you wanted to do at a young age. Can you appreciate that? Or did you ever appreciate that?
Um, it's, it, I don't know. it was like I joined the Navy at a high school, and it sounds crazy, but when I joined the Navy, it wasn't. I didn't know where I wanted to. I didn't know where I wanted to go. I just know where I didn't want to be. I didn't want to be stuck in the trailer. So the Navy offered me a way to get out of that environment and get out of this, Ohio, small town Ohio. And I was like, okay, if I could just get in the Navy and I could just get to California. In my brain, the whole state of California was LA. Because I'm looking at David Lee Ross, California Girls, and I'm like, okay. Yeah. I didn't know there was a Fresno and a Bakersfield and a Eureka and an Oakland. I didn't know. I was just like, okay, California's LA. So if I can get to LA, I can get to California, I can start doing stand-up. That was my process.
So why the Navy? Why? Well, I guess there's two questions. Why the armed services in general, but then why the Navy?
My senior year of high school, it was December of my senior year, and a buddy of mine and his dad woke me up. And I hadn't taken the SAT or the ACT. I wasn't going to college. And they basically just dragged me out of my bed and was like, my buddy dragged me out and goes, Gary, come on, get up. He goes, what are you doing? I was like, what do you mean? It's like Saturday morning. He goes, come on, man, you got to get out of here. He kind of knew I had to get out of the environment I was living in. And he took me down to the recruiting station. I met with the Navy guys, and I was like, all right. And literally, it was like, all right. I said, you can get me out of here? They said, yeah. I said, when? They were like, when do you graduate? June. They said, we can get you out of here in July. I said, I'm in.
And that was the end of it. That much. But my nanny, she's here tonight, and she knows I'm interviewing you. And she was in the Army. And I was telling her about you, and she and I both agreed you couldn't ask for the opposites to attract, in the sense of somebody joining the military and being a funny person is polar opposite. Did you recognize that? That doesn't work. That's the opposites.
Well, I'll tell you where it does work. People like funny people. And I was able to get over, they call it skating in the military. I was able to skate a lot because I could even make my bosses laugh. And so they let me get away with a lot. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I go on a lunch run and be gone for 2 hours. Where were you? I go, I don't know, traffic. And they'd be like, fucking Owen.
That's just him.
Or anything. My first 2 years, I was in honor guard in D.C., so we did like funerals and parades and stuff. And you go through this thing called train a platoon. And it's like when you first get to DC for the first 2 months, it's like boot camp all over again. But you're learning how to march and do the rifles and the funerals, how to carry the casket properly and everything. And when you get done with train a platoon, you get a jacket. And it says U.S. Navy Presidential Honor Guard. And it's like a badge of honor. You get to wear that jacket around. And they give you a nickname. My nickname was Smiley. And I posted on my Instagram about a month ago. Somebody sent me a picture of me and a buddy of mine from back in the days, and you can see my jacket, and you can see where it says Smiley stenciled in right there. So I was smiling.
That was you.
Always. I was so happy just to be out of the trailer park I grew up in. Dude, boot camp was so easy. Training platoon was so easy. I was like, this is a breeze.
So, when did you realize, honestly, you joined the Navy? Like, why the Navy? Just because your friend did it?
Yep.
That was it.
That's all. I mean, all the recruiting stations were right next to each other. They was like the Marine was across the hall from the Navy. The Army was across the hall. They were all right there. It was the Armed Forces Recruiting Center. So you could walk in and enjoy whatever you want. I just went into the Navy guy first. And my buddy was joining the Navy. I basically joined because he joined. I go, all right, I'll just join because you're joining.
Do you keep in touch with him?
He's still one of my best friends to this day.
Oh, that's awesome. So
he saved me growing up.
No, of course. Did he see comedy for you as an example?
He always said I was funny. I don't know if he thought I'd be a stand-up, but
how about the guy who you ran away with?
Oh, yeah, Derek, that's still my dude, too. That's why I say, like, I don't have the story of people be like, the Biggie song, teachers told me I wouldn't amount to be anything type stuff. I didn't have that. I had the kids I grew up with and the teachers and sports coaches, they always like were cool to me, and everybody was good. Like even kids I went to high school with, I always tell them I'm gonna be a stand-up. I'm gonna be a stand-up when I get out of here. And they're like, I can see it. You funny. I can see it. So I don't have those stories like that. So whether they believed it or not, nobody like tried to crush my dream. I should say that.
No, but that's amazing because in reality, so many people do, in the sense of they question it. Why are you doing that? What do you want to do? Come on, seriously. But having people support you is a great thing.
Yeah, and I think that's why I do so much for my high school and my hometown to this day, because I just appreciate them so much growing up like that.
So you spent the way I think about it, you spent 6 years.
Yeah.
How does one decide to get out?
You know, I got the job on Comic View. I was still active duty. A lot of people don't know that. I was stationed in San Diego, and I've told this story numerous times. I was starting to do stand up around San Diego, like open mics and stuff, where other people were going to bars and nightclubs on the weekend. I was hitting anywhere I could get on stage. I was trying to get on stage, and I won this contest, the funniest black comedian in San Diego contest, and it was a radio station called Z90 in San Diego. And I called in. I didn't say I wasn't black or I was black. I just called in and entered. And I ended up winning the contest. And first prize was you got to go to LA and do a spot up at the Comedy Store, Fat Tuesdays, Guy Tori's thing. And I got up there, did that, and I got an audition for Comic View. I got on, and back when I did comedy the first time, they filmed the whole season in a week. So they was doing like 3 episodes a day for 5 days.
Wow.
And then at the end of that week, you know, they picked 4 people to get our specials. So you kept winning rounds. It used to be a contest. You won every round. So I won my 3 rounds, and all 3 rounds was the same day. So I won all my 3 rounds, and they called me back. I did the hour special like a month later, and both times I just took leave. I took. You were still
in the military when this is happening.
Oh, completely. I just took a week's leave, filmed Comic View, came back to the base, was working. Then I start airing, and I'm MP, and I'm a master at arms. I'm a cop on the base, so I'm waving cars on the base, and so some of the brothers like go and be like, Did I see you on TV last night? Maybe. Come on, man. Keep moving. And then Curtis Gatson, who was the head of BET at the time, called me into he said, you know, hey, Gary, we'd like to meet with you. So I drove up to LA one day, and he said, we want to make you the host. And I was like, oh, shit. I still got 6 months left of my enlistment. But they weren't filming for another 3 months. So I just basically got out a little early. My base worked with me, and I got out 3 months earlier than I was supposed to get out, so I could go do Comic View and be the host.
Did the military help you in comedy?
I got a lot of military jokes. I know that.
Aside from that, did it give you? But I think about. I'm thinking maybe it gave him structure. Maybe it gave him, you know, structure is the biggest thing. The idea that you put things together to help you. You know what I mean?
Well, 2 things I found out later in life through therapy and figured out when you go through a rough childhood and you probably suffer from a little PTSD. What I didn't realize till later is join the military and just walking with people in cadence at boot camp. Yeah. It kind of rewires your brain. You are forced to get in sequence with other people, and you guys got to be on the same wavelength to march. As simple as that sounds, right, left, right, you're forced to do that, and it helps to heal your brain. Yeah. And I found that out later in life. I go, oh, so in that aspect, the military was amazing for me. And another thing it helped me with was my first bunkmate in boot camp. His name was Copera Washington. I don't know why I'm so good at names. He was a black guy from South Carolina, and we would get pictures through the mail back then. This was before the internet and all that stuff. And I remember he got pictures sent, and he was like on a tractor, and he was a big black dude. And I was like, were you on vacation? He was like, oh, man, that's where I live. I go, black people don't live on farms? And he said, what? So he called this black guy from Mississippi, this black guy from Georgia, this black guy from Alabama. They're like, Gary, what'd you just say? I go, black people don't live on farms. And they gave me the Spike Lee, like, this dude. And I found out they all lived in the country. And I go, holy shit. I go, black people live in the country? Because in the Midwest, all the black people live in the city. And my mind was blown. And I go, wow, I don't know a lot about this world, clearly.
Yeah.
And I would always ask questions.